of you may know Mr. Jeff as middle school guide upstairs, but you may not know that he is also a successful entrepreneur. Economist magazine named him one of the top 15 entrepreneurs in the world. And today he's here to launch our first official Project Time project, Entrepreneurship. So let's give Mr. Jeff a big welcome.
Thanks, guys. So, as your moderator, one of my jobs is to help us all abide by the rules of engagement. And I brought the rules of engagement from middle school down. I've been practicing some of these. But I want to go over them and I want to ask you which of the three you think are the most important to practice today. So, the rules of engagement that a great Socratic discussion are: listen respectfully, which means don't raise your hand when someone else is talking, and pay attention to what they're saying. Be prepared and on time. Be clear and concise. Provide evidence. Or start with I agree, I disagree, changing the subject so you're building. Which of these is the most important one today? And I'm going to ask the fifth graders to help me by calling on people. So, which is the most important if we're going to have a crisp, powerful Socratic discussion?
I think it is provide evidence, because if you do not provide evidence, it won't matter. The other one practically won't matter. If I just say I choose subject A and that's all I say, or I choose subject A because of this, it goes a lot better because people can have things to build on and things to agree with, things to challenge and stuff like that.
Okay, so Ian, I'm going to ask you to be the process cop for evidence today. So if someone offers just an opinion, I think the sky is blue, with no because. Your job is to raise your hand and say why. Will you take that role?
Okay.
So Ian, you've got the role. Second, what's the next most important rule of engagement?
Be prepared and on time.
So, will you be the? Why is that the most important? Thank you, Ian.
Because if you aren't on time for something, you might just randomly say, like if you just hear the end of something you think is wrong, you might just say, I don't agree, and so it won't. But if you're prepared, then you can and if you're on time, then you'll know what that person's actually talking about, so you can say, I agree because this happened.
So Chandler, do you think the most important thing then is to be on time or to be prepared?
Be prepared.
So if someone sounds like they haven't prepared for today, would you remind us and ask them if they prepared? So we have one more between listen respectfully, be clear and concise, or starting with I agree, disagree. Which is the one we absolutely have to pay attention to today?
Addie?
I think it would be I agree, I disagree, or change on the subject. Because if someone says something, like, I don't know, I think that spaghetti is the best food on earth because it has meatballs. But then somebody comes up and says, me too. And then another person's just like, everyone's just shouting, me too, me too, me too. And then one person like doesn't have an opinion on it. It would be really hard to tell like if that person even had an opinion, because
So Andy, let me help you with this. So what exactly is your point?
so I'm saying that if one person didn't say, if they disagreed but didn't say they disagreed and everybody else agreed, then everyone would think that person disagreed, and if they were like voting or something, then that person's opinion wouldn't really get into it.
So it's in disagreeing that we can have a good discussion. If everyone agrees, so we need this, and by signaling I agree, I disagree, and changing this, so we'll know where someone stands. Because one of our jobs is to have a really good discussion. We have to have disagreement for that, or to know where someone's coming from. So, if someone doesn't start, if first words aren't "I agree," "I disagree," or "I'd like to change the subject," would you call a timeout and ask them? You'd be the process cop for that. So these are our three. So I'm going to erase. These two are important. Listen respectfully and be concise and clear. But these are the three we're going to work on today. All right, so you ready to start the discussion? And my job, by the way, if someone's being distracted, my other job, as you asked me as moderator, is to ask them to leave the discussion. But if I have to do that, you guys have failed. I don't mean you fail because you've been distracting. I mean you fail because if someone's distracting, I want you to ask them to leave the group before I do. So how many people are willing to take on that job? If someone's distracting, you'll ask them to leave before I do. Okay, so you just made a promise. Promises are important. If you raise your hand and someone's being distracting at all, you just tap them on the shoulder and point, and they have to leave, okay? Because being attentive is really important. All right, so imagine this. You're 20 years old. Must seem like 100 years from now, but you're 20 years old. You've started your own business. You're working long hours, and sometimes task is really difficult. The work is really hard. But you're on a hero's journey. So every time you fail early, cheaply, and often. And most importantly, you get back up. After years and years of work, one day you wake up and you realize your business has been enormously successful. You might be Bill Gates, who started Microsoft, or Steve Jobs and Apple, or you might just run a dry cleaner down the street serving people, but your business has been incredibly successful. So my question for you is, which of these will be the most important? Which of these will be the most important for you? Will it be that you got to use your gifts with great joy? You were in flow and you used your gifts. Will it be that you made something with your own hands and you're proud of that? You created something. Will it be that you served grateful customers? You've helped somebody else? Or will it be that you have money and freedom? So before you answer, let me take a vote. How many people think you've used your gifts? That when you wake up and you've been really successful, that will be the most important thing. One, two. How many people believe it's that you've made something with your own hands? It's like the projects you did last year, those who developed projects, it was really great. Like, Bodie, you made that cycle, right? Didn't you make the bicycle?
Yeah, scooter.
The scooter, I mean, yeah. So, like your boat, you made something with your own hands. How many people think the most exciting thing about entrepreneurship is you get to make something with your own hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many people think it's the fact you get to serve others? You have grateful customers that really appreciate you for doing it. Oh, that's a popular one. 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, 13. And how many people think it's money and freedom? You're ready even right now at age 6 or 7, you want to get your own apartment and have adults stop bossing you around. How many people want the money and freedom is the most important? Two. Kirby, are you going to open?
I need a little time to think about it.
Okay, well, my opening question is, if you're willing, is why is money and freedom the most important reason on this list for you personally?
Well, for me, since I don't see the point really in just helping the customers, I mean, it'd be really nice and I feel good, but I'd feel even better if I had money. And I probably would do, I'd probably be nice to the customers too.
Why is money and freedom important to you personally?
Just so I can have a better life, and it's a lot more enjoyable, and you get paid for the stuff that you want, and just have a good life.
Who absolutely disagrees with Kirby? You think he's completely wrong? Basil, I'm going to let you call it.
Well, I think, I mean,
No, tell Kirby. He's the one that's wrong. I'm not wrong. It's Kirby. Tell Kirby why he's completely wrong about money and freedom.
I think if you realize you're helping others and other people are grateful for you, that's way more important, and you'll be much more happy through your life if you do that, instead of just having money so you can go and spend it on yourself.
Do you agree with Bodie or do you agree with Kirby? I'll ask him what you call.
I respectfully disagree with Kirby because I think it just makes me really happy to make other people happy, and really, I don't really need money as long as I'm happy.
I want to hear somebody defend Kirby. Sam?
It's also that it puts you in a happier mood, and you can't just be happy by satisfying customers, because by satisfying them you have to be in a cheerful mood and everything. But if you're almost bankrupt, then I don't think you're going to be very happy.
Yeah, I didn't hear any evidence. Did you hear evidence from that too?
I don't really hear any evidence.
Why, Sam?
Why?
What's your evidence for that?
Well, a lot of businesses, they are on the break of, like, some businesses, the workers are really unhappy, and then a few days later I've seen them close or they shut down. But then, and also a lot of businesses that the people are happy and they are doing a great job serving their customers, also make a lot of money.
So Sam, what do you think the cause is? Is it that businesses that make money have happy customers and happy employees, or businesses with happy customers and employees make money? Which one causes the other?
Well, I guess it's that just the employees really just being cheerful attracts a lot of customers, and great service makes the best of.
Now, oh, I'm sorry, Buddy?
Well, I'm thinking that if you don't need money to be happy. I bet there's plenty of people who work under the minimum wage and are still very happy. Just because you have millions and millions of dollars doesn't mean that you have to be happy.
Ask Nicole.
It doesn't really have anything to do with money.
But if you didn't have any money, you'd die pretty early without money for working hard.
Which one did you call?
I think even if you're just really nice to the customers and you don't earn very money, that would be bad because you would like not have a good house, like not have good stuff. Instead of like having a really nice house and have someplace like
Just call somebody over here.
Spain.
I think it's using your gifts. Cause when you use your gifts, and if you practice your gifts, and you get really good, really good, instead of just a little bit good, it'll bring you lots more joy, and like serving for customers, and like.
So this comes first, to both bring you customers and make money and be able to serve people. Gifts come first. I'm so confused. Who's right? Is Savannah right? Or is it Kirby or is it Bodie? Who's right? Pick somebody to tell me who's right. I'm confused.
Well, it's your opinion which one's right or wrong.
Ah. Which one has the most evidence behind it?
Well, out of our vote, I think serving grateful customers, helping those people.
So if half the people here told you to go jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge because the majority's right?
No.
So there's an even interesting question. Is the majority always right? But in this case, at least, the majority here said serving grateful customers. Who'd like to stand up there? A lot of people said making something with your own hands.
I can.
It's your discussion.
discouraging thing after a while because the best place card starts to fade away, and then the balance, and then it just starts to go on a lose track where you're not only getting kind of tired of working there, but you barely make any money off it.
So sometimes it
and
gets
that's not really, and it gets kind of boring unless you kind of can make some real
So
stuff.
something I don't have on here that might say you need new things. You need novelties because all this might get boring. Who hasn't spoken that has a point that you absolutely want to get in? Yes.
Keeping rich and even actually changed my mind to money and freedom. I think it's money and freedom because in having money, then you can't pay off your house tax and your kid tax. And you and also I agree with Rich that you can't buy any food.
I saw you, I heard you change your mind, which to me is a courageous thing. You listened, you considered evidence, and you changed your mind. That's one of the most powerful things anyone can do in a Socratic discussion, is to listen and decide, you know what, I changed my mind. The most powerful Socratic discussions we have them at the MBA school are those where we ask a question, would you do A or B? And to vote at the start, half the people vote for A and half vote for B. And then the Socratic leader doesn't say anything. People just argue like you've just had this wonderful argument. At the end of the day, there's a vote, and it's 50-50 again. Each side votes for half, but everyone's changed their mind. Because that's a sign that everyone learned something during the discussion. So these are questions for the next 9 weeks you're going to be exploring as you play the entrepreneurship game. We're going to have to decide, because our question for the year, the overarching question, what motivates a hero? The question for the next 9 weeks is what motivates an entrepreneurial hero? Is it money and freedom? Is it serving people? Is it the joy of making something with your own hands? Is it using your gifts? Or is it something else? Is it novelty? Ian's already added one more, so you may add more things to this list, but that's what we're going to be doing for the next 9 weeks, is we explore this idea of entrepreneurship, the joy of making something with your own hands, selling it to someone you don't know, and having money left over. I hope you'll come to the Children's Business Fair on Saturday. You'll tell your parents to come and bring lots of money. How many people have a booth at the Children's Business Fair? Terrific. Even those of you who don't have booths, please come. We've got 150 booths this year, something like that. It's amazing. So you're going to see some incredible, and I want you to look and tell me which one do you think is the best, which one do you think is the best booth and why when you come back. All right, so last thing. One of the most important things you can do as a successful entrepreneur is to keep your word. The thing I've learned, the most important thing is to keep your word. A new surprise to tell you about, starting next Monday, middle schoolers are going to come down to serve as your guides in some of your groups. They will only do that, though, if you sign a written covenant with them about respecting the rules of engagement. The rules you agree to, like we agreed to rules of engagement before this discussion. And if you break them, they're going to ask you to leave the group. So keeping your word as an entrepreneur, we're going to practice that by having the entrepreneurship guides. And our guides that come down from upstairs are going to be charged with how clearly can they set the consequences and can they encourage you to achieve and aspire, but also hold you to your word. How many people would like a middle schooler to come down and work with them as your guide? All right, great. So those of you that want a middle school guide, will get one. Last question. What most excites you about the upcoming entrepreneurship challenge? Someone who hasn't spoken. What most excites you?
What most excites me is the opportunity to make a lot of money. Because with money comes happiness. And happiness comes life.
Precisely said. Ian, precisely what excites you?
I think it's going to be that I can, it is about the business or about leadership? Which one?
I'm just a guy.
Okay.
It's your discussion.
What's going to excite me is that I'm going to get to go around. I think it's just going to be being creative and going around because I don't like put one practically every so often we just get to do this where people can actually do businesses. Like
exhibitions. We get to see whether you're making games or making speeches, or at the end of this 9 weeks, you're going to make a best-selling book. And here's my challenge for you. My challenge, that'll be announced in just a minute. You're going to write a best-selling book. The middle schoolers upstairs are writing best-selling books. My challenge for you is, can the elementary school outsell the middle school?
Like actually
Wait,
sell.
You're going to be writing and selling a best-selling book. So my challenge for you is, I want to see the elementary school beat the middle school. Even though I'm upstairs, I'm my challenge to you guys. So now, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Terry to outline the rest of the game for you. I have to tell you, that was a terrific job of being prepared and on time, providing evidence, and building on each other. It's a great start to a wonderful Socratic discussion. Thank you for having me, and I hope you'll invite me back.